The coffee maker gurgled to life at 4:30 in the morning, same as it had every day this week. Sleep wasn't coming anyway, not with Sierra's work duffel bag sitting by the front door like some kind of monument to my marriage's collapse. I stood in our kitchen, staring out at the darkness beyond our desert property line, wondering when exactly everything had gone sideways in Mesa. "You're up early," Sierra's voice cut through the quiet. She padded into the kitchen wearing her scrubs, hair already pulled back in that efficient ponytail. Always prepared, even at 4:30 a.m. "Couldn't sleep," I said, not turning around from the window. "Big day ahead, right? Moving in with Wade for 30 days to help him recover from his mysterious pool-related injury." She bristled. I could hear it in the way her breathing changed. "It's not like that, Mason. He's genuinely struggling after that chemical accident at his warehouse. Someone needs to help him get back on his feet. And that someone has to be my wife." I poured coffee into my favorite mug, the one Sierra had bought me when I started Rodriguez HVAC 5 years ago, back when she still believed I hung the moon. Funny how his recovery requires you living there full time. Don't be dramatic, it's temporary. I finally turned to face her. Sierra stood there with her arms crossed, defensive but trying to look reasonable. The same expression she wore during staff meetings at Desert Regional Hospital when she had to deliver bad news to families. Professional, cold, calculated. "I'm not being dramatic, I'm being practical." I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened our shared family calendar. "Put the dates in here for clarity." She blinked, clearly not expecting that response. "What?" "You said 30 days, mark it down, start date, end date. That way we're all on the same page about your timeline for Wade's recovery." Sierra stared at me for a long moment, probably waiting for the explosion, the angry husband routine, the pleading, the threats to leave if she went through with this insanity. Instead, I sipped my coffee and waited. "Fine." She grabbed her phone and started typing. "March 15th through April 14th, 30 days exactly." "Perfect." I watched the calendar update in real time on my device. "Thanks for being so organized about it." The front door opened, and our 16-year-old son Logan walked in, backpack slung over one shoulder. He'd obviously been waiting outside for the right moment to make his entrance. Everything was a performance with these two. "Dad, you need to be reasonable about this," Logan said without preamble. "Mom's trying to help someone who got hurt. That's what good people do." "Absolutely," I agreed. "Very charitable of her." Logan frowned, thrown off by my calm response. He'd probably rehearsed this whole speech about family loyalty and supporting each other through difficult times. "So you're okay with it?" "I'm okay with a lot of things." "Your mom's made her choice. I respect that." Sierra's eyes narrowed. She knew me well enough to recognize when I was too calm. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means exactly what I said. You've decided to spend 30 days living with your ex-boyfriend to nurse him back to health. I think that says everything that needs to be said about our marriage." "He's not my ex-boyfriend," Sierra snapped. "We dated briefly in college. That was 20 years ago." "Right. Ancient history. Just like our wedding vows, apparently." Logan stepped between us. "Dad, stop being such a jerk about this. Mom's doing something nice for someone who needs help. Why can't you just support her?" I looked at my son. Really looked at him. When had he become so much like his mother? That same self-righteous tone, the same ability to twist any situation to make himself the victim or the hero. Never just a person making questionable choices. "I am supporting her," I said quietly. "I'm not stopping her. I'm not arguing. I even helped her organize the timeline. What more support do you want?" "You could try being understanding," Logan shot back. "I understand perfectly. Your mother has decided that Wade Collins's recovery is more important than our marriage. She's prioritized his needs over our family. I understand that completely." Sierra grabbed her duffel bag. "I'm not doing this with you right now. We'll talk when I get back." "Sure we will." She paused at the door. "You're not going to stop me?" "Nope." "Have a great time playing nurse?" "God, you're impossible." Sierra looked at Logan. "I'll call you later, honey. Don't let your father poison you against me while I'm gone." And then she was gone, leaving me alone with my son, who looked at me like I'd just kicked a cactus wren. "I can't believe you," Logan said. "She's trying to help someone and you're acting like she's abandoning us." She is abandoning us for 30 days. She put it in the calendar herself. It's temporary. We'll see. Logan stormed off to his room, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the adobe walls. I finished my coffee in the sudden quiet, then opened my laptop and started taking screenshots of everything. The calendar entry, the text messages about Wade's chemical accident, the family group chat where Sierra had announced her plans like she was going on a business trip. By sunrise, I had documentation of everything. By 9 a.m., I'd filed for divorce. My workshop in the garage had always been my sanctuary. HVAC equipment, diagnostic tools, and a workbench that had belonged to my grandfather back in Tucson. It's where I went when I needed to think, and right now, I had a lot of thinking to do about systems that needed troubleshooting. I pulled up our household management system on my tablet. Over the years, I'd set up everything to run through interconnected apps and services, shared calendars, automated bill paying, school communications, medical records, home security, even the smart thermostat that kept our desert house cool during Mesa's brutal summers. Sierra had access to most of it, but I was the primary administrator on almost every account. Time to change that. I started with Logan's school system. He was 16, a junior, and needed parental authorization for various activities throughout the year. I updated the emergency contacts, removing Sierra's work number and Wade's pool service address. Then I sent a formal email to the principal explaining that Mrs. Rodriguez would be unavailable for the next 30 days due to personal circumstances and all communications should be directed to me. Next came the medical records, our family doctor, Logan's specialists, even the dentist. I updated the contact information and removed Sierra's access to the patient portals. If she wanted to be involved in our son's health care from Wade's house, she could call me directly and coordinate through proper channels. The home automation system was next. I removed Sierra's profile from everything. Security codes, smart locks, garage door access, even the streaming services. If she was living somewhere else for 30 days, she didn't need access to our house in Mesa. Each deletion felt like cutting another wire in a complex electrical system. My phone buzzed with a text from Shane, my best friend since high school and the only plumber in town I trusted with our house calls. "Heard Sierra moved in with Wade. You okay, man?" I typed back, "Never better. Want to grab lunch at Desert Springs?" "Hell yes. Noon. See you there." I spent the rest of the morning methodically removing Sierra from our digital life. Bank account notifications, credit card alerts, utility companies, insurance providers, everything got updated with my contact information only. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was using the same systematic approach I used when installing HVAC systems. Identify the problem, isolate the faulty component, reroute the connections. By the time I was finished, Sierra Rodriguez effectively no longer existed in the Rodriguez household ecosystem. My phone rang around 11, Sierra's number. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again 5 minutes later, then again. By the fourth call, I turned the phone off entirely. Whatever crisis she was having at Wade's pool maintenance warehouse could wait until I felt like dealing with it. Desert Springs Diner sat on Main Street between Copper Ridge Hardware and the post office, a classic Southwest diner that had been serving the same menu since the 1990s. The kind of place where contractors grabbed coffee before dawn and discussed the day's jobs over plates of eggs and green chili. I arrived early and grabbed our usual booth in the back corner, where Shane and I could talk without the whole town of Mesa listening in. Shane showed up right on time, his work clothes still damp from the morning's pipe repairs. He slid into the booth across from me and signaled Martha, the waitress, for coffee. She'd been working here since before we graduated high school and knew our orders by heart. "So," he said without preamble, "what's the real story with Sierra and Wade?" "She says she's helping him recover from some chemical accident at his pool supply warehouse. Needs 30 days of her undivided attention, apparently." Shane snorted and shook his head. "That's interesting, considering I saw Wade at the Cactus Club last weekend looking perfectly healthy. He was buying rounds for half the place and bragging about some big contract he landed." "Business contract?" "Something about expanding his pool route. Apparently he's got new commercial clients lined up for the summer season." Shane leaned forward, lowering his voice. "You want to know what I think? I think Wade's accident is financial, and your wife is the cure." That made more sense than anything Sierra had told me. Wade Collins ran a pool maintenance service around Mesa. the kind of operation that specialized in desert resorts and high-end residential complexes with creative payment arrangements. He'd been struggling for years, always one step ahead of his equipment loans and supplier bills. "She doesn't have access to our business money," I said. "I handle all the HVAC finances." "What about her nursing salary, her personal savings account?" I thought about that. Sierra made decent money at the hospital, and she'd always been secretive about her personal savings. She called it her independence fund, money she kept separate from our joint accounts. I'd never pushed the issue because it seemed reasonable for both spouses to have some financial autonomy. "There's something else," Shane said, his voice dropping even lower. "My cousin Danny works at Mesa Community Bank. He mentioned seeing Wade making some large cash deposits lately, business deposits that didn't match his usual seasonal patterns." "How large?" "Large enough that the bank had to file paperwork with the state, the kind they file when someone's moving suspicious amounts of money around." I sat back in the booth processing this information. So Wade wasn't injured. He was broke. And somehow Sierra had gotten involved in helping him solve his financial problems. The question was whether she was just being naive and generous, or if there was something more going on. My phone buzzed with a text. I'd turned it back on during the drive over, and now I had 7 missed calls from Sierra and a string of increasingly frantic messages. "Why aren't you answering your phone?" "Logan's school called me about his permission slip for the field trip. They said I'm not authorized anymore." "What did you do?" "None of my security codes work for the house. What's going on?" "Call me back right now." I showed the messages to Shane, who grinned like a coyote who'd found an unguarded chicken coop. "Looks like she's discovering the new reality." 30 days, I said. She wanted 30 days to play nurse with Wade. So for 30 days, she gets to figure out how to be a parent and a wife from his warehouse. What about Logan? That was the hard part. My son had made it clear he supported his mother's decision, but he still lived in my house and needed things like school permission slips signed and rides to activities. I wasn't going to punish Logan for his mother's choices, but I also wasn't going to make things easy for Sierra. Logan can reach me directly if he needs anything. If Sierra wants to be involved, she can coordinate through me. My phone rang. Sierra again. This time I answered. "What did you do?" Her voice was sharp, angry, with that edge she got when patients' families questioned her medical expertise. "I can't access anything. I updated our household management system. Since you're living somewhere else for 30 days, I figured you wouldn't need access to our house." "That's ridiculous. I'm still Logan's mother." "Absolutely. And if Logan needs anything, he can call me and I'll handle it. Or you can call me and we can discuss it." "I tried calling you. You didn't answer." "I was busy. I'll get back to you when I have time." There was a long pause. I could hear Wade's voice in the background, probably coaching her on what to say. "Mason, what are you doing?" "I'm respecting your decision to prioritize Wade's recovery over our family. You wanted 30 days to focus on him without distractions. I'm helping you achieve that goal. That's not what this is about." "Sure it is. You've made your choice. Now you get to live with the consequences." I hung up and turned the phone off again. Shane was grinning. "You're really going to make her sweat this out for the full 30 days? "I'm going to do exactly what she asked for. She wanted space to help Wade recover. She's got it." And after 30 days, I thought about the divorce papers I'd filed that morning, the lawyer I'd consulted, the documentation I'd been gathering. After 30 days, we'll see what's left to recover. 3 days into Sierra's 30-day recovery mission, I was starting to get a clearer picture of what was really happening. It came together piece by piece, like troubleshooting a complex HVAC system where someone had bypassed half the safety protocols. The first piece arrived courtesy of Mrs. Patterson, my 70-year-old neighbor who had made gossip into an art form. She cornered me while I was loading equipment into my service truck, her small eyes bright with the thrill of having information someone else needed. "Saw your wife at the grocery store yesterday," she said without preamble. "She was buying quite a lot of fancy food for someone who's supposed to be nursing an invalid back to health. Steaks, expensive wine, those fancy imported cheeses. The kind of things you buy for a celebration, not a sick room." Mrs. Patterson leaned closer, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "She looked happy, Mason. Really happy. Like she was planning something special for someone special." I thanked Mrs. Patterson and finished loading my truck, but her words stuck with me like refrigerant in a leaky coil. Sierra had looked happy. When was the last time she'd looked happy at home? When was the last time she'd bought steaks and wine for us? The second piece came from an unexpected source, Brooke, Sierra's coworker and closest friend from the hospital. She showed up at my door Thursday evening looking uncomfortable and fidgety, like a patient waiting for test results she knew would be bad. "I probably shouldn't be here," she said when I opened the door, "but I thought you should know what people are saying at work." I invited her in and made coffee while she gathered her courage. Brooke had always been the type to collect gossip and secrets, but she was usually more careful about who she shared them with. "Sierra's been talking at work," she finally said, "about Wade, about their history together. She's been saying things that make it sound like maybe this recovery situation is more complicated than she told you." "What kind of things?" "She said Wade was the one who got away, that she's always wondered what would have happened if they'd stayed together after college." Brooke fidgeted with her coffee cup like it might explode. "She said being around him again has made her realize what she's been missing." There it was. The truth Sierra hadn't been willing to admit, maybe not even to herself. This wasn't about helping someone recover from a chemical accident. This was about rekindling an old flame and seeing if the grass really was greener on the other side of Mesa. "There's more," Brooke continued. "Wade's been telling people around town that he and Sierra are getting back together. He's been saying it's just a matter of time before she leaves you permanently." I set down my coffee cup carefully, fighting the urge to throw it against the adobe wall. "He's been saying that publicly?" "At the Cactus Club, at the pool supply store, anywhere contractors gather to talk. He's bragging about stealing another man's wife." The third piece of the puzzle came from Shane, who had been doing some investigating of his own. He called me Friday morning with information that tied everything together like the final connection in a complex electrical circuit. "I did some digging into Wade's financial situation," he said. "Remember how I mentioned those cash deposits? Well, it turns out they started about 6 weeks ago, right around the time Sierra began working extra shifts for special consulting work." "Consulting work?" "That's what she told her supervisor, said she was working on a nursing consultation project in her spare time. Guess who her consulting client was?" I didn't need to guess. Wade. Bingo. She's been funneling money to him for weeks, probably from her personal savings. The chemical accident story was just cover for moving in together permanently. I sat in my truck outside Wade's pool supply warehouse that afternoon, watching through binoculars as Sierra and Wade worked together in his office. They weren't acting like a nurse and patient. They were acting like a couple planning a future together, and I had the perfect vantage point to document it. Wade's warehouse was a collection of chemical storage tanks and equipment arranged around a concrete building that served as his office. Hand-painted signs promised reliable service and competitive rates, the kind of place that attracted customers who needed pool maintenance but couldn't afford the big corporate companies. Through the office window, I could see Sierra at Wade's desk working on a laptop while he stood behind her, his hands on her shoulders. They were both smiling, both relaxed, both acting like people who had nothing to hide because they thought no one was watching. I took photos with my phone, making sure to capture the timestamps and location data. The digital evidence was as clear as a properly calibrated pressure gauge. Then I drove to the bank and requested account statements for the past 2 months. As the primary account holder on our joint accounts, I had the right to see where our money was going. The statements told the story Shane had suspected. Sierra had been making regular transfers from our joint savings account to her personal checking account, then writing checks to Collins Pool Consulting Services. $8,500 over 6 weeks. That worked out to about $1,400 per week, well within her nursing salary range but devastating to our emergency fund. $8,500 of our money funding Wade's business and supporting Sierra's fantasy of a different life. That evening, Logan came home from school in a mood that reminded me of a monsoon storm building over the desert. He'd been cold and distant since Sierra left, treating me like I was the villain in this situation. But tonight, he seemed more upset than angry, more confused than defensive. "Some kids at school are saying things about Mom," he said, dropping his backpack by the door like it weighed 100 pounds. "Stupid gossip stuff." "What kind of things?" "That she's having an affair, that she left us for her old boyfriend." Logan's voice cracked slightly. "I told them they were wrong, but what?" "I called Mom today to ask her something and Wade answered her phone." He looked at me with confusion and hurt in his eyes. the same expression he'd worn as a little kid when he couldn't understand why his toy broke. He said she was in the shower and he'd have her call me back. Dad, why would he answer her phone, and why was she taking a shower at his place in the middle of the day? I sat down next to my son, choosing my words as carefully as I'd select the right tool for a delicate repair. This was the moment when Logan would either start understanding the truth or retreat deeper into denial. What do you think might be going on? I don't know. Maybe there's an innocent explanation. Maybe there is. But we both knew there wasn't. Logan was 16, not 6. He understood the implications of Wade answering his mother's phone while Sierra was in the shower. He just wasn't ready to admit it yet. Dad, what are you going to do? I looked at my son, this young man who was about to learn some hard truths about the adults in his life. Some lessons you couldn't protect your kids from, no matter how much you wanted to. I'm going to protect our family, whatever that takes. What does that mean? It means your mother made a choice to prioritize someone else over us. Now she gets to live with the consequences of that choice, and we get to decide what our family looks like going forward. Logan was quiet for a long moment, processing this information like a student working through a complex math problem. Dad, do you think Mom's lying to us? The question hung in the air like heat shimmer rising from summer asphalt. I pulled out my phone and showed him the bank statements, the photos from Wade's warehouse, the timeline of transfers that coincided with Sierra's consulting work, evidence laid out as clearly as a wiring diagram. What do you think? Logan read through everything in silence, his expression growing more troubled with each revelation. When he finished, he handed the phone back to me and stared at the floor. She really planned this whole thing, didn't she? Yes, she did. I feel so stupid for defending her. You're not stupid, Logan. You're loyal. That's a good quality, even when it's misplaced on people who don't deserve it. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. When I opened it, I found a photo of Sierra and Wade at Desert Mountain Resort Restaurant sitting close together, holding hands across the table like newlyweds. The message read, "Thought you should see this. A friend." I showed the photo to Logan, who stared at it for a long moment before handing the phone back to me. She really did lie to us, he said quietly. Yes, she did. What happens now? I thought about the divorce papers, the bank statements, the documentation I'd been gathering like evidence for a complex warranty claim. Now we find out what the truth is really worth. The annual Mesa Chamber of Commerce BBQ was scheduled for the third Saturday of Sierra's 30-day recovery mission. Every year, the whole business community gathered at Desert Vista Park to network, eat overpriced barbecue, and catch up on local industry developments. This year, I decided to give them something really worth talking about. I spent the week before the BBQ making preparations as methodical as any HVAC installation. First, I volunteered to help with the event setup, specifically the audiovisual equipment for the afternoon's presentations. The organizers were thrilled to have someone with technical experience handle the sound system and projection screen. 20 years in the trades had taught me that people trust you more when they see you working with your hands. Next, I reached out to the event coordinator and suggested that we honor some community members who had been particularly generous with their time and resources lately. I specifically recommended recognizing Sierra and Wade for their collaborative efforts in business consulting and community health support. The coordinator loved the idea. Nothing made Mesa business event planners happier than spontaneous opportunities to celebrate local entrepreneurs. Meanwhile, Sierra's situation was becoming more complicated by the day. Her boss at Desert Regional Hospital had started asking questions about her extended absence and the consulting work she'd been doing on company time. Brooke, feeling guilty about her role in covering for Sierra, had finally admitted to management that she'd been handling Sierra's patient load while Sierra focused on personal projects. She's in real trouble at work, Brooke told me when she called Thursday night. They're talking about suspension, maybe termination. She's been using company resources for personal business, and that's a fireable offense. What kind of company resources? The hospital laptop, the company car for trips to Wade's warehouse, even the corporate credit card for some of those expensive dinners you saw them having. Saturday morning dawned clear and warm, perfect weather for the chamber BBQ. I arrived early to set up the sound system and test the projection equipment. Everything worked perfectly, including the wireless connection to my laptop that would allow me to display presentations from anywhere in the park. Sierra and Wade arrived around noon, both dressed casually but nicely, both acting like a couple attending a community event together. They held hands while walking around the vendor booths, shared a plate of barbecue, and generally behaved like people who had nothing to hide from Mesa's business community. The formal presentations were scheduled to begin at 2 p.m. Local business owners would speak about their charitable contributions, community leaders would thank volunteers, and various awards would be presented for outstanding service. I was scheduled to make a brief presentation recognizing outstanding community collaboration. At exactly 2:15, I took the microphone. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to take a moment to recognize two members of our business community who have been working very closely together on an important project. I gestured towards Sierra and Wade, who were sitting together near the front of the crowd of contractors, business owners, and their families. Sierra looked confused but pleased by the recognition. Wade grinned and waved at the crowd like a politician at a campaign rally. Their collaboration has been so comprehensive, I continued, that Sierra has actually moved in with Wade to provide round-the-clock assistance with his recovery project. She's been there for 21 days now, and I thought everyone should see just how dedicated she's been to this business partnership. I clicked to the first slide on my presentation, a photo of Sierra and Wade holding hands at Desert Mountain Resort Restaurant, timestamp clearly visible. The crowd murmured like an engine with a timing issue. Sierra's face went pale as desert sand. As you can see, their working relationship has been very hands-on. Click. Another photo, this one of them embracing in the parking lot of Wade's pool warehouse. Sierra has been providing Wade with extensive personal consultation. Mason, stop this! Sierra's voice carried across the suddenly quiet crowd. Oh, I'm just getting started. See, everyone thinks Sierra has been nursing Wade through some chemical accident, but the reality is much more interesting. Click. A screenshot of the bank transfers. Sierra has actually been providing Wade with financial consulting. $8,500 worth of consulting over 6 weeks to be exact. The crowd was completely silent now, everyone staring at the projection screen where the evidence of Sierra's deception was displayed in detail. And the best part, I said, is that Sierra documented the whole timeline herself. She put the dates right in our family calendar. 30 days of recovery consulting. Very organized, very professional. Wade stood up, his face red as an overheated compressor. You can't do this, man. This is private business. Actually, Wade, when you start bragging around town about stealing another man's wife, it stops being private business. When you answer my wife's phone while she's in the shower at your place, it becomes everyone's business. Several people in the crowd gasped. Mrs. Patterson nodded knowingly, clearly pleased that her gossip instincts had been validated. The crowd erupted in nervous laughter and excited chatter. Phones came out as people started taking pictures and recording videos. Within minutes, the whole scene would be all over Mesa social media. I clicked to the final slide, a photo of our family calendar with Sierra's 30-day entry highlighted. So let's all wish Sierra and Wade well in their recovery project. They've got 9 more days to figure out what they're recovering from. I handed the microphone back to the event coordinator and walked away, leaving Sierra and Wade to deal with the aftermath of their public humiliation. Behind me, I could hear Sierra crying and Wade swearing as he tried to salvage what was left of his business reputation. By day 30, it was over. Sierra's nursing career was finished, Wade had fled Mesa to escape his creditors, and I had full custody of Logan. The divorce was final, the house was mine, and my HVAC business was thriving thanks to referrals from people who respected a man who stood up for himself. Logan and I were building something new from the wreckage of our family, something honest and strong. Sometimes the best way to fix a broken system is to strip it down to the foundation and rebuild it right. Some people never learn that lesson, but then again, some people were never meant to be part of your permanent installation anyway.